Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to try fixing a Tactacam Reveal X. The antenna is just spinning around in circles. I believe the wire internally is broken off, so I'm going to take it apart, see what's wrong. I did order some parts from Amazon to replace the wire, so let's see what we get ourselves into. So the first part of disassembly, you want to take the antenna off. You want to remove the SIM card, SD card, and then you're going to need a small Phillips screwdriver. The longer the shaft, the better. You got to get way down in these, but there's 6 screws on the back of the camera that you need to remove. Once you have those 6 screws out, you're going to go ahead and open the door latch, and then what you're going to find is this little connector on this circuit board. So you want to pull that out, so then you can remove this part of the camera. Full disclosure, I've already done this at work in order to figure out what parts I needed to fix this thing, hopefully. So then this circuit board is exposed. You're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more screws in here that you're going to take out. And this is where having the SIM card and SD card out comes into play. You cannot get this circuit board out if those are still in the camera. So make sure you have those out. Once those screws are out, you're going to pull this circuit board out. There's going to be a couple of black wires connected to the circuit board. One will be here, and then there'll be 2 on the back, one for the antenna and one that the wire is soldered inside the housing. So in order to get this out, remove the one in this corner here first. So I've already done that. You just pull it off. That'll allow you to get this circuit board out. The camera gasket is going to come off a little bit while you're doing this. So then you'll flip this board over, and then this wire, which I already have disconnected, will be on here. So pull that off, and you can get this the rest of the way out. What should be connected yet will be your broken wire to the antenna. And then inside the camera housing, where the antenna attaches, this is jam nutted in there. So I already have that out. As you can see, right there is where the wire was snapped off. So once I found that out, I went on to Amazon and I was able to buy a completely new wire. Oops, sorry. So this is a 6-inch wire replacement. They also sell them in 2 inches. I got the 6. I'm going to try and get it back in the camera without having any issues. But the reason I got the 6 is because the one that all these other wires, they're so tight, they're hard to work with. So I wanted something to be able to work with it here once I got it reattached to the circuit board. So what we're going to do is go ahead and get this threaded back into the camera. Get these nuts tightened up. I've already checked to make sure this tiny little end here clips onto the circuit board, and does. I've also checked to make sure that that threads onto the antenna. So we're going to go ahead and get this jam nutted back in. So one thing to note is there is a factory like epoxy where that antenna sticks through. You're going to have to scrape some of that off to be able to get the nuts back on. And then on this side, there's a rubber gasket in there that has to come out before you can unthread the old broken one. Okay, so you needed a 5/16 wrench. So what I did is started the nut on the other side, the antenna side, held this at the 5/16, got everything as tight as I could with a socket, but what happens is the socket's too big to get inside the plastic. So I ended up putting the antenna on, continued to tighten this with the wrench until it was tight. And then I'm just checking this. So I took this antenna and turned it on here to make sure internally this is not spinning. Initially it was, so what I did is just put the wrench on and then spun the antenna till it got tight and tightened everything. So knowing what I know now, I'm going to be really gentle with this camera, taking this antenna on and off, but We have that in there. So now we want to go ahead and get the circuit board hooked back up and back in the camera. So the first wire I want to hook up is the one from the antenna. So we need to get this lined up. Which is not the easiest thing in the world. So I have that one pressed back on. Now for the hard one. So you're going to turn this circuit board over. Like I said, because this is too long, we have to be careful where we go with it. And we're going to clip this one back on where it should be. So both of those are on. What I want to do with this new wire is I want to kind of tuck it between this little post there. Go ahead and get this set back down in there. This black wire is on the outside of this board. Gotta go ahead and pull this gasket back out of the way. Okay, so after fighting this thing for a little while, I finally got that circuit board back in there. The gasket is kind of back in place, so we need to get this last little black wire reconnected. So all the wires are back on. Now we can go ahead and put these screws back in. So they are very, very small. So what I did is put them inside a Ziploc bag, so I did not lose them. So go ahead and make sure we plug this white plug back in before we put the back on. So once you got all the screws in and get the gasket back where it should be, we can go ahead and put the back piece back on. So we'll go ahead and do that. Well, now that we got all the back screws in, let's go ahead and turn this over. Open it up. Let's go ahead and insert the SD card again. And then we're also going to put the SIM card back in. So all that went in. So now we're going to go ahead, we're going to put batteries in it and try and power it on. Alright, so it looks like success. We got 4 bars. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this on, let the camera set, check my app, and see what the app says. Well, the app says that it checked in, strong signal. I like it, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to try and take some test pictures and see what it looks like. Success! I love it when a plan comes together. Well, as you can see from the little video clip from the camera, it works, it functions like brand new. So I'm going to set it up, test it for probably a couple of days, and then it's ready for the woods again. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you got any questions, just leave a comment.